Hello, this is Oscar from BlenderSwede, and in this episode I'm going to show you how you make these kind of Asian festival lanterns. Now this is not a beginner's tutorial, so I will assume that you have previous knowledge in Blender. So if I say I'm going to do a loop cut, I will assume that you already know how you make a loop cut. And if you don't, I suggest that you check out my Blender for Absolute Beginners tutorial series. So if you're feeling confident, then let's get our freak on. Okay, let's go ahead and make the lanterns. So first add a UV sphere, and 32 rings, 32 segments and 16 rings is actually just what we want. So go ahead and tab into edit mode and scale this down. Yeah, right about there. And then we are going to remove half of it to cut our work in half. So go ahead and mirror this, the Z-axis, and add the clipping. And now we want to remove the top of the sphere. And then we want to scale this edge ring out quite a bit. We can scale it out a little more than that, actually. Yeah, that's pretty good. And now we want to cut all the major segments in half. And we want to scale them in slightly. And this will add to the sort of lantern-like shape of this object. And how much you want to scale these in is, well, it's up to you, basically. But remember that it should be less exaggerated towards the top. And now we want to lock these corners in, because that's where the metal rings are going to go, the supporting structure of the lantern. So these should be quite round and smooth. And we don't really have to do these ones, but let's go ahead and do it anyways, because we want to be thorough. Okay, let's make this smooth and apply a subdivision surface. And that's looking pretty damn good. That's just what we want. So go ahead and click the little eye so that you don't preview it, because it just saves computing power. Okay, and with the cursor in the center, we want to add a Bezier circle. You could also use Nern's circle. It doesn't matter, so choose whichever one you like. And then you want to tab into edit mode and scale this when you are in edit mode, and just put it inside of the lantern. This is probably good. And now you want to go into the curve sort of options, if you will. But let's first name this, let's just name this support or frame, because it's sort of the frame of the lantern. And then you want to change the depth. And it should be quite fat, because we want it to cast a nice shadow. This is probably good 0.003. Now you will obviously have created this in a slightly different scale, so just, if it looks kind of like this, then you did it correctly. And now select the sphere, and let's add this again, because when you apply the modifier, the shapes kind of get a little squashed. So scale this out a bit. But it shouldn't be visible. You see, this is slightly visible outside, but let's fix that later. Let's go ahead and Uncheck that. Okay, and now let's duplicate this frame, because this is going to go around every piece. Let's just go crazy here. And then go ahead and scale all of these segments down. And when you're done with that one, you can just duplicate it and put it on the other side. That's probably good. And do an Alt-D so that you just make another instance of this. Because if you want to change one of the rings, you probably want to change both of them. And this is quite tedious, but it's an important step. And there we go. And now we just need one more. And let's rotate this 90 degrees on the x-axis. And let's call this, I don't know, master frame. And this we want to be a little smaller than the rest, because this is going to go on the inside, like so. And go into top mode and duplicate this, and then rotate it in 45 degrees. Duplicate it again, rotate it in 45 degrees. Do that again until you've gone all the way around. And as you see here, these are visible on the outside. And that's not what we want. And there we go. This is good. Okay. And we still have our cursor in the middle, that's good. And now we're going to add a cylinder. This is a very large cylinder, and we don't want an n-gon filling or a triangle filling. We want nothing, absolutely nothing. Okay. Go ahead and scale this down. And drag it up. Scale it down again until it fits on top of the lantern, and scale it on the z-axis. This is probably good. Yeah, this is good. Okay, and now you want to duplicate this, and then hit Alt-S to sort of scale this in. What the hell am I doing? Oh, yeah, there we are. And then hit W and flip the normals. And then select both rings and there, bridge edge loops, and do that on the bottom as well. And as usual, we want to make this smoothable. So just go ahead and make it smoothable. And this ring we can actually drag it up slightly to make the edge a little softer. Same with this one, but we drag it down. Okay, and let's shift duplicate this and put it on the bottom. Yes, okay, let's go ahead and make the... Oh, and don't forget your coffee. And if you're not currently drinking coffee, then I suggest that you pause the video and go make some coffee because you need some coffee. I mean, have you ever heard of anyone doing 3D graphics without drinking coffee? I didn't think so, because it just can't be done. So pause the video. I'll wait here for you. You got your coffee? Okay, good. So let's keep going. Let's go ahead and make the sort of handle on the lantern. We can do that with a path, actually. Go ahead and... This is very large. Drag these in. Scale them in. And the same with these two. And then from these ones you can extrude. No, I couldn't do that. I have to do it manually. No, actually make those a lot smaller and then just extrude it again to give it a nicer curve. And then just do the same thing like you did with the supporting frame. Should actually change the resolution. We can go ahead and do that on these two. So let's find the master frame. Let's up the resolution. And let's do that on these dudes as well. Was that the last one? Yes, it was. And then this one is just a little bit visible. Okay. That is good. Now what should we do first? Should we finish the... what the hell are those called? The little strings on the bottom? Or should we go ahead and make the materials? No, let's go ahead and make the little strings. So we want a Bezier curve. Let's go ahead and scale this way down. And we want to keep this little shape for now, because we are going to be using that in a moment to just check that everything worked out. But you can rotate it in the wrong axis. There we go. And you can also drag this down so that we get the center on the top right there. Okay, and now let's go ahead and add a icosphere. And this is actually not that important, the shape of it, so you can just have one subdivision level, because we're going to have a ton of these, so we don't want to use more computing power than we really need. So go ahead and scale this down. Way down. Should be small. And that's probably... we can probably make it a little bigger. And make it smooth. And this, since I don't know what it's called in English, I'm going to name it in Swedish, tofs. But you can call it whatever you want. And this can be the tofs sphere. Okay. And now we want to add a couple of modifiers. The first thing we want is an array. And we don't want a fixed count, we want a fit curve. And then just find our tofs. And let's bring this down to about a 0.8. Okay, and then we want a curve. The same thing here, we want the tops. And now we want to rotate this in Y2. So now you see this actually follows our little curve. So if you go ahead and edit the curve, this will follow. Now we want this to be kind of straight right now. And you can also, for easier access, just move this slightly to the side. And now comes a truly tedious part. So we can go ahead and select these and move them to layer 2, and go ahead and select the bottom ring and move that to layer 2 as well. And select these two. And we are going to fit them inside of the ring. And this is actually way too tall. So let's go ahead and move this up. Oh, we can do that by scaling it too, of course. Let's see how that looks. Oh, that's much better. That's much better. Okay, now we are going to basically fill the entire inside of this ring with these little buggers. So I am actually going to go ahead and pause the recording, so you can go ahead and pause the video now, and I will come back to you once I have filled this. Okay, they are all done. Now what I did was I went ahead and I disabled the visibility on the array modifier, because otherwise it's quite a lot of objects on screen, and your computer wouldn't enjoy that. Now let's go ahead and apply the mirror modifier on the lantern body. Go into top view, and let's select the lines that are corresponding to the frame. And go ahead and mark the seam. Control E, and then just unwrap this. Now you can place the seam anywhere you want, but I find that it's good to hide this seam under the shadow from the structure. Let's go ahead and add a material. Let's call this lantern, and go ahead and enter the node editor. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a texture coordinate input and drag the UV to the diffuse. Oh no, sorry, let's not do that. Let's go ahead and add a there we are, image texture. Now I went ahead and I actually downloaded a couple of textures from cgtextures.com, and I edited them a bit. So I just took a wrinkly paper texture and made it black and white. Let's drag these to the color. Okay, there we are. And now let's go ahead and check the size of this, so enter texture mode. And that's a little too big. Now we could change the size of the texture in the node editor, but let's make it easy on ourselves and just do it in the UV editing. So just go ahead and scale this up. That's all you have to do. And that's much better. Okay, back into the node editor. Now this you don't actually want in the diffuse. You want this to go to the displacement input. And you can go ahead also and add a mix RGB node. And let's make a guess. 0.9 or maybe 0.95. You can just change this later. And if you remember, this is just to make the deformation or the apparent displacement of the this texture a little less severe. It will be much more subtle. We just want a hint of wrinkly paper. So let's add another image texture. Now the same thing, I grabbed a basic paper texture and I colored it red in GIMP. It was called paper decorative and I just made it red in GIMP. And grab that to the color input of the diffuse. And let's add a mix shader and also a glossy shader. And this can be 0.3. And let's make this a light orange. Will do just fine. And this should barely be visible, so maybe 0.02. And now for the thing that will make them actually look like lanterns, we're going to add an add shader. And to put on the bottom value, we want a, where is it? Translucent. So let's go ahead and make this a deeper orange than the gloss. And go ahead and add that to the add shader. And this is the basic lantern material. And please go ahead and experiment, because I am not... I may not always be right. And it's up to you, basically, to do what you think looks best. Now let's go ahead and add a gold material to these ones. Let's just change this in the viewport. Okay. Now this is going to look like basically cheap gold colored plastic. So let's go ahead and make the diffuse a yellowish color. And we want a mix shader and we want a glossy shader. And the gloss should also be a orangey color. And the roughness, probably 0.1 will do fine. And maybe 0.9 will be good. Let's go ahead and preview that. Yeah, that's pretty decent. And that's all we have to do to make this. And this one, let's actually go ahead and add the gold and click the little plus and change the name to gold 2. And bring down the gloss. And why? Well, because Cycles isn't really that good at handling shiny materials when you are rendering at with a low amount of samples or defocus. So I've found that for regular computers, and if you don't want to render all night, it's usually good to bring this down a bit. Oh yes, and let's go ahead and tab into edit mode here on this one. And just move that up to there. And go ahead and grab all the rest. And move that up too. And now that this is selected, you can select the handle and hit Control P to make the handle the parent. So now when you swing it around, oh shit, oh sorry, I forgot, like this. That's pretty good, don't you think? Well then, let's give this a little test. What we want to do is we want to add a light source, a lamp, I think point light will do just fine. Put it inside of the lantern. And let's go ahead and change the color to a more warm color. And I'm not sure what strength we're going to use, but we are going to do a little test render. So go ahead and add a camera. And for now, you can just go ahead and select the lantern and hit Control T and drag to constant constraint. I keep forgetting the name of that one, but you know which one I mean. And I will go ahead and render this, and I will come back to you when I'm done. Okay, I rendered this a couple of times with different strength on the light inside of the lantern, and I found that 3 worked for me. This is the result that I got, and I'm pretty happy with this. And oh yes, damn it. Go ahead and now let's keep the camera for now, but move it to layer 3 maybe. I completely forgot about these little buggers. Let's give them a nice material. Gold fabric. Now these are, once again, they're not that important. They're going to be basically the same as the gold material, but not as shiny, of course. Let's go ahead and add the gloss and maybe bring down the to 0.2, and let's add a, this is probably good, and maybe 0.3. No, let's bring this down to 0.2 again. Yeah, this is probably good enough. And oh dear Lord, I'm sorry, this is so much extra work for all of us now. Why did I go ahead and do this? Well, anyway, this happens sometimes. You completely forget about something that you were supposed to do, and now everybody has to suffer because of it. But it's fine. You will get used to making. I forgot. Can I do this? No, I can't do that. Okay. But I'm not gonna pause the video this time because now we all learn the hard way what happens when you are sloppy. I know I shouldn't punish you for my own mistakes, but that's what I'm doing. So are you enjoying your coffee? I know I am. I always buy more expensive coffee because well, I live by myself, so I'm the only one in the house that drinks coffee. So I think that it's well worth the investment. What about you? What kind of coffee do you drink? Instant coffee? Oh, I never really cared for instant coffee. I mean that's fine if that's what you like, but I'll stick to my regular brewed coffee. I should probably get a better coffee brewer, but what I have is fine. It makes good coffee. Oh my god, I should probably pause the video. Yes, but after this we're going to add a few more touches to the lantern, and then we are just going to set up a nice scene to render. We're going to render it. I'm going to show you some some post-process stuff you can do in GIMP, because you always finish up in post-production. When you hit render, and the image that you get out from the render calculation, that's not the finished product. So if you ever wondered why some people just get these amazing renders, well, it's because they do a lot of the work in post-production. So I'm going to show you a few neat tricks, because we are going to make this look like more like an actual photograph and less like something that we have made in 3D. I've always liked that style, that little, you know, with the little kind of grunge and the washed out colors. You know, like like all the pictures the hipsters take, and you know, here's my dinner, looking like a 1960s photograph. I like to do that with my 3D work, because I think it makes it look a little bit more organic. Because strangely enough, even though 3D is kind of what I do, I really hate the look of 3D graphics. It usually just looks so cheap and lifeless. So we're going to grunge it up a bit. And I'm going to show you the compositor, a few tricks. But we may end up not using the compositor, because well, I'll explain to you once we have gotten that far. And then something that you should do, that I just forgot to do, was when you, if you're going to do something like this with a lot of repetition, instead of manually applying the material, naturally I should have just added a new material to the first one, because I just could have gone in and edited the material afterwards. So just have a sort of proxy material that you go ahead and change, instead of doing it like this. But now you have hopefully learned from my mistake, and we had a nice little talk, you and I, about coffee, about your instant coffee and my brew coffee. I'm sorry, I shouldn't tell you that you drink instant coffee if you don't drink instant coffee. That was rude of me, and I apologize. Yes, okay, let's go ahead and make the subdivision visible. And as you can see, our frame is visible. So let's find the master frame. Where is the little bugger? Oh, there he is. And scale him in just a tiny bit. There we go. Okay then, we are going to add another modifier, and that is a displacement modifier. Oh dear lord. Let's make a new texture. We want the paper wrinkle. And holy hell. And bring down the strength. 0.01. No, that's still too much. 0.005. Still too much. Just alter the values. Basically, this is just going to add a few more. It's going to deform the mesh a little more. It doesn't really do much, but the little it do I find to be quite useful. Let's check that nothing is broken. Good. And now we can go ahead and parent the light to the handle. Okay, and we are pretty much done with our lantern. So let's go ahead and make this scene. Oh, and save it, of course, and have another sip of coffee. Okay, let's bring the camera back into... Oh, in fact, let's keep him in the layer 3 and just shift click into this clear track, because we are going to add an empty plane axis. Let's call this focus and track to that one instead. And now we're going to do something strange. We are not going to be rendering in widescreen. We're going to be rendering a square to get the sort of retro feel. Yeah, but let's not do that now. Let's set up the scene first. We can move this to layer 3 as well. So what we want to do now is we want to create basically 2 wires to hang our lanterns from. So cursor to selected will be fine. Let's go ahead and add a curve, and let's make it a path and rotate that 90 degrees. And just create, we can actually do that at the same time. Just make sort of a wire looking shape. And that will be perfect. And let's go ahead and add some thickness, 3D full. And this can obviously be a little larger than the handle, and add the resolution. I don't know if we actually need to change the material on this, because nobody's going to be looking at the actual wire. So let's not do that, in fact. But let's hang our lantern. Okay, and now let's create a couple of dummy lanterns. So go ahead and select the entire lantern with everything inside of it. And go ahead and duplicate this. Because this, we can remove most of the subdivision levels, and we can go ahead and remove the entire thingamagoo. And let's find the main one. And oh my god, I have no idea which is going to be the one. It's probably 4. We don't have to use the same resolution because it's not going to be visible. And you can see that I forgot to add the subdivision to this one, which is not that bad because we weren't going to use it on the second lantern here. Now I'm actually unsure as to how we're going to pose these mofos. But let's finish this one first. We want him to be a little... we want a little bit of wind. And now comes a truly boring part. These. We need to make them look like it's windy. And how do you do that? Well, basically you just go into edit mode and change them around a bit. You know what? I am going to remove the second lantern and all of his stuff. And I will just finish this so I can copy this onto the next lantern and just change it around a bit so I don't have to do all the work again. But you saw what I was doing. You just basically edit the bezier curves to make them look like they're blowing in the wind. So now I'm going to pause the recording and let's do this separately. So pause the video and we'll come back when we're both done. And I think that you should go ahead and fetch yourself another coffee, because I think that you're worth it. See you in a bit. Okay, now the tassels, yes, I looked it up on Google Translate, are blowing in the wind. So let's go ahead and duplicate our lantern and make more lanterns. And the first one you can shift duplicate, and the latter ones we are going to alt duplicate. Okay, and let's bring this mofo down a bit. Yes. And we can go ahead and rotate him in other various ways so that they don't look too similar. We want some differences. But the spacing should be more or less the same. This one can be, yeah, probably like that. That might be good. We will see when we use the camera. These are much too close. And this is also, you can just space them to your own liking. You don't have to follow my example on everything. And let's have 2 rows, and I'm sorry, my cat is making a lot of noise again. She tends to do that when I don't give her enough attention. But now I'm giving my attention to you, the guy who's trying to learn Blender. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. And now you see I forgot something again. How silly of me. You know, this one is going to be out of focus, so let's just remove all the subdivision modifiers on these guys. I don't think we actually need them. We can just go ahead and add them later if we do. But these are going to be out of focus, so they're not as important. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the camera to the scene. change the focal length to maybe 52 is probably good. But we can't really see the other lanterns, can we? This is looking quite nice. Oh, yeah, there we go, there we go. This is the stuff right here. Yeah, now we're talking. Now we are talking. And this little guy, we can go ahead and move him. So that is visible way in the back instead. We can go ahead and duplicate him again. Yeah, that's probably good. Let's just kind of frame this a little better. Yeah, I think this is all right. Let's go ahead and save this. And now we want some ambient lighting, so let's go ahead and add a sun. The sun can be pointed towards the lanterns like so. Yes, low strength, and let's make him a little brownish. And then, no, not another sun. Let's go ahead and add some point lights to kind of simulate light coming from the street. And I will do some render tests in a bit to kind of find out which strength is good. But just go ahead and add various lights of different colors to, like I said, simulate some random festival kind of looking lights. Yes, and that's good. And since we have a lot of reflecting materials on the lanterns, we want something that they can actually reflect, and something that will cast even more lights into the scene. So let's go ahead and enter the third layer, and let's add a cylinder. And once again, we want nothing. Scale him up quite good, like so. And let's go ahead and remove half faces. And scale him along the x-axis, like so. And I think we actually should... oh my god. Oh, there we are. Yeah. Flip the normals. Go ahead and unwrap that little dude. And let's give him a new material. Let's call it ambient. Let's make it an emission. Yeah, 1 is probably good. And let's add an image texture. Now I went ahead and just downloaded random picture of a festival with the same kind of lights that you see we are using in our scene. And I am in the wrong folder, sorry. Lantern Festival year is my image called. So just go ahead and steal something from Google. Nobody will ever know. And this is just to give the camera something to reflect. It's not actually going to be visible. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick render to see what we kind of have to change. And I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I didn't have to complete the render to see that I have made a few mistakes. Well, first off, the light inside of the lanterns is too bright. And I accidentally left a thing out during the modeling, but not to worry, it's a very quick fix. So let's go ahead and change the brightness to let's try 1.9. And I think that after this one the rest will follow suit, and yes, they are. Okay, let's fix my mistake. Go ahead and duplicate the body, and well, you can remove. Now don't remove it, let's leave it. Enter edit mode, Shift S and scale it in. Now you can hide the body, and let's go ahead and cut this down like so. And we want to select this little part here. We can go ahead and cut some more pieces. And this is basically where the lantern was glued together from the various strips of paper. So we just make a few nice cuts. And then invert selection and go ahead and remove these. Okay. And now we're golden. And I am not too happy about the spacing of these lanterns. So I'm actually, now that I fixed the first one, I'm going to go ahead and, yes, I'm going to remove all of them. And do it again the proper way. It's not going to add a bunch of extra work, just a little bit. There we go. And now let's do this from the camera view. So let's duplicate this mofo. And yes, it's along the y-axis, so go ahead and grab him and y. Yeah, that's good, okay. And now let's bring him down. And now we can go ahead and change these values that we did not want to have the same, and remove the modifier there. And did we get the paper inside? Yes, we did. Okay. And now we have the correct spacing, so let's go ahead and do this. No, I want him more to the side, and this one yeah, this will leave a lot more air. And it's not important that they actually line up in the actual 3D world, as long as it looks like they are doing so. It's perfectly alright to cheat when doing 3D graphics. That's actually a major part of what we do. Yes, I know, cat, you want food, but you have to wait until I finish my tutorial. Well, that's good. Let's actually go ahead and move this one so that he's not so visible. And that one, yeah, we can just go ahead and move all of these over one whole step. So let's grab this little guy, and not this. And let's grab this little guy, and this little guy, and this dude right here. And just move them over a whole step. And let's cheat a bit. Let's make him a little visible there. Okay. Okay, now let's make them look like they belong. So just wobble them around a bit. To make them look less uniform. And now you see that this is clearly the same as this. So let's go ahead and just change these around. We don't have to change all of them, just a couple. So that it just looks like a different pattern. Oh yes, these are all the same, but these ones are going to be so out of focus that I don't think it will matter that much. And another thing I noticed during the render is that these are way too dark. So let's make will save. Okay, I'm going to render this once more to see what we are looking at. Okay, this is actually pretty good. We still have a few things to change though. In my opinion, these dudes are a little too far away. Yeah, that's better. And the camera, sorry, the focal length, I think we need to bring this in a bit more. Yes, that we do. Yes, I think this will be quite excellent, but now I have not paid. Yes, that's good. We want the focus to be in the main lantern. And now we want to add some depth of field. So let's go ahead and go to the camera, and we want the under the depth of field panel, we want the focus to be focus. And f-stop. Oh, I completely forgot to check which value was good for this. So let's do a dirty 10 sample render under 5.6 and see what happens. Because we want it to be, we want a lot of defocus. Now this is way too much. Let's try to 1.4 perhaps and see what happens. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant 14. And see what kind of result we get. Oh, this is much, much better. I hope, since this is really damn blurry. Yeah, but I think 14 is an excellent number for this particular scene. We will know for sure during the final render. So let's go ahead and stop this right now. Go into the render pane and go down to film and hit transparent. Because now we want to go and save into compositing. We can go ahead and close these bastards. Use nodes, and let's have the backdrop. We are going to add an image. And let's go to tutorial lantern and select the background. And then we want an alpha over node. We need to switch place. Yes, this is the one we want. Let's go ahead and make a dirty render to see that everything kind of works out. And the image that I have as my background, basically what I did is I started GIMP. And I made the completely black square image, and then I just made some colored dots that kind of represent defocused lights, basically, like city lights in the background. Because the background is not really that important, because you will focus on the actual lanterns. But this looks, oh my god, this looks like crap. We're gonna have to change this. And this is what I was talking about earlier. This is one way to add a background to your image. And another way that's usually... it's not really a good way to do it, but I find that in cycles for a render like this, it actually works really well. And that is to add a plane in the background and have your background image on the plane. Because that way you get the same sort of background noise, if you will, as the lanterns, and it will sort of bring the scene together. So let's actually go ahead and try that. Let's not use nodes. Go back into the 3D scene. But first let's start GIMP, and we can change this around a bit. Let's just add some color. It's not really important. Something like this will probably look just fine, actually. So let's export this. So this is what I have in GIMP. So let's go into the layer 3 and let's add a plane. Rotate in X 90 degrees. And let's view the lanterns too. Okay. Basically just make sure that this just covers the entire image. This will probably do just fine. Go ahead and unwrap that. Let's look at a texture view. Let's add BG. Let's make that an emission so that we don't get too much stuff. Aha. To rotate this. Yeah, like so. Okay. Let's give this a quick render and see what we are working with. And I usually do a lot of these quick and dirty renders when I am creating a new scene. I find it's a really good way to just sort of see how things are turning out. And for some reason this is quite shitty. Because we did turn off the... Now this is looking like hell. I am not happy about this at all. Let's go ahead and strength .1. It might be just too bright. We just want a little bit of stuff. And that was the last of the coffee. I should make some more. Do you want some more? Do you think we should go make some coffee? Take a little break. What do you say? No, let's finish this first. Let's make some coffee when we do the before we do the post-processing. This is better. It's still quite shitty, so let's go ahead and parent the background to the camera. No, still in edit mode. And this just might make everything better, I'm not sure. We can probably go ahead and zoom in a little tiny bit more. Yes, so that we cover more of the crappy background with our lanterns. And I'm actually going to go ahead and just drop the brightness on these even further. And this one even further, I think. And I think these follow suit. They did not, and that's good. Oh yeah, I forgot that when I redid this, I hit Shift D instead of Alt D, because now we can change the lights and give this a little more variety, which is good. So I apologize if I have been sort of all over the place, but yeah, that's what you get. But these ones I think do inherit, yeah, and that's fine as long as it's a little bit of difference. Okay, I am actually going to go ahead and make a high quality render to see where we are at. And that's basically the only way to make sure that things are looking the way they should. So I'm going to set this to 2000 samples. I'm going to render this, I'm going to make some more coffee, and I will see you in a bit. Okay, the render is complete, and I am noticing some pretty severe flaws. The displacement map is coming on a bit too strong. You see the blacks are, the lows are kind of black. And the background is a little too dark. The lanterns are a bit too uniformly lit. We could have altered this by having a less bright light inside of them. So that's my mistake. And also the tassels look a bit too uniform. But that's kind of the way it can happen when you make a tutorial, because I'm not really used to making tutorials, so I'm learning how to make tutorials as I'm teaching you how to master Blender. So we are doing a bit of give and take here. It's a nice kind of relationship we've got going, I think. But anyway, let's power through this anyway. So you can go ahead and fix the stuff that I just showed you. But it's in the middle of the night, so I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to finish this. So let's save this. I'm gonna name mine render. And let's fire up GIMP. Oh, I fired up another Blender. Sorry, there we have GIMP. Okay, open render.png. You probably should have saved it in another format, because PNG is it's a bit lossy. So I'm just all over the place now, but I think you'll be okay. Okay, the first thing we want to do is under filters and distort, go to iWarp and click grow and the maximum deform radius and a lower deform amount. This is going to create sort of a fisheye effect, because that's what you get with the camera, really. So just add a bit more realism. I went ahead and duplicated this. I usually duplicate before I do a major change, so I can always go back to my original, even though the original will always have a place on the hard drive, but yes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lower the contrast. You don't have to lower it quite as much as I do, because your lows are hopefully not as black as mine. You can go ahead and make this a bit lighter as well. And on top of this, we are going to have an oversaturated version of our lanterns that we can just lower the opacity on. Right about there is probably good. And I'm actually going to go ahead and remove some of it to make my lantern appear less uniform. You know what, I'm actually going to go ahead and duplicate this yet again. And I am going to add a bit of contrast and lower the lightness. Now let's up the lightness actually, and go ahead and bring up the saturation. I'm just gonna go crazy with the eraser. There, now it's not as uniform. We have a little bit of a highlight here in this area. Okay, let's add another layer, and we will grab a yellow. A nice yellow, and just fill the entire screen. And let's make this an overlay and bring it down to maybe about 20% is probably good. And after that, we want a nice cyan kind of color. And let's go ahead and do the same. And to finish that off, we're going to grab a nice sort of magenta. And make that an overlay as well. Now I'm going to use make that a little stronger than the cyan and magenta, because I think it makes this particular image look a little bit better, makes it a little warmer. Let's go ahead and add some defects. So let's pick a light blue or cyan. And for this we want a rather massive brush. Maybe not that massive. And just, no, let's have it that massive. Make some blobs. Where you put them, it's not really important. But like this is usually good. And go ahead and make that an overlay as well. And bring that down a bit. And let's go ahead and make a similar layer, but with a few reds and yellows. And we can make this corner over here a little reddish. And make that an overlay and bring down the opacity. I find that this just helps to sort of bring everything together. Oh, and let's also add just a gray. And we are going to create a noise layer. To sort of bring everything together. Now I don't really know what these actually do, but they appear to have changed to the noise, so that's good. That's a nice looking noise. And I'm not sure what we want to do with this really. Maybe multiply? Nah. Let's have a lighten only. You see, this kind of just helps to bring it all together. And okay, let's choose a black. And we're going to go ahead and select the entire thing. Did I do that now? I think I did. And stroke the selection. And we're going to have quite a nice width on this, probably. Oh, that might be not too much. Let's try it out and see what we end up with. And we're going to give this a ridiculous blur. Even more ridiculous. Yep. Oh, that's actually quite good. And use multiply and bring down the opacity to sort of create a vignette effect on this. And yes, let's go ahead and click the where is it? New from visible, and go ahead and blur this. Not this much. Probably about, I don't know, 17? Probably a little less. That's good. And go ahead and just remove most of this. My computer is lagging a bit now. I just installed a new operating system. I haven't got all the proper drivers in place yet. But just so that the edges are not as sharp looking. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And also let's go ahead and probably have it somewhere in here on the papers. We want a sort of dirty paper texture, and here we have one. The size doesn't really matter. I think this one is a little too small for our needs. But yeah, you see, it's much too small. But that's okay, because this is not going to be visible. It's going to be visible, but only a little tiny bit. Basically, all this is going to do is add some more information to the image. Add a little bit of crunch and make the whole thing just a little bit more interesting. And I think we can actually go ahead and duplicate this again. And oh, add a bit of contrast. Lower the brightness. And this is a truly horrible editing technique, but I find it's working for this kind of image. Just add some sharpness. And let's bring it out. Make it appear brighter. Okay. And I think we can use multiply on this and bring it down. Just or maybe normal. it's nice to have a layer like this that you can fiddle around with. It gives you a little bit more control over the... And I'm sorry if you can hear my cat. She's eating and pushing around the bowl as she does so. Yeah, but I'm quite pleased with this. Now we just have one final thing to do. And that is to go ahead and add another... let's go ahead and select first. Another stroke around the image. 30 is probably a good value. Yes, to just add a sort of black rim to the picture and kind of frame it a bit. And just to show you fast what you can achieve with this, I am going to show you a different... because I have done this scene before, and that's why I wanted to show you how to do it. And this is my previous result, and I had more time on my hands, and I just experimented a lot more. So you can see that the light on the lanterns is less uniform. The tassels are looking a bit better, and also the background is nicer, and the displacement is working better than in this one, but this is not too bad. And with a little experimentation, I think you can create something really nice. And I would like to see your creation too, so get something done and show me. This is Oscar from BlenderSwede. Thank you for watching.